All right, let's get a couple more people in. Admit and admit. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's call. Welcome to today's call. My name is Annabelle Pacheco, and I am, give me a second here. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. All right. All right. You guys can all hear me. You can see my screen. We're all good. Thumbs up. Yes, we're good. Fantastic.
Yes.
All right.
Good.
All right. Let me let a couple people in. Give me 1 second. All right. Okay. All right, very good. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Annabelle Pacheco, and I'm an investor and a real estate broker. Been in business for 24 years. If I can ask everyone to mute themselves, that would be great. All right, just want to make sure that everyone can hear me. All right, so as I was saying, I'm a real estate broker, been in business for 24 years and just part of a global real estate company, eXp Realty. My goal today and really every week is to share with you the steps that I took in purchasing my first multifamily deal. I bring guest speakers on from the multifamily space to share with us and really just expand our knowledge so that we can go out there and do this for ourselves, right? And if you're in the plans and you're currently looking for a way to get into the multifamily space, you know what, this is a great spot to come and just learn, plug in and listen to the stuff that we're doing. I encourage everyone to participate, ask questions. It's really not just about me talking, but if you're currently going through certain things and struggles, you know what, jump on and just, share what you're going through and let's try to come up with a solution. I mean, this is really a safe space and really it's just to share information with each other. I want everyone to know that I am not selling anything. I'm not offering anything. And I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just sharing my story with everyone. Okay. In hopes that, again, this will inspire you to go out and do the same thing. So just a little bit about myself. I've been in I was in the mortgage. I started my career in the mortgage industry in the mid 90s and was involved in a lot of rehabs. And so purchased probably over 100 properties throughout my career, rehabbed and flipped, and also 2 to 4 units were rehabbed, flipped, and managed. We kept them, managed them for some time, and then just sold them. But it was just constant, rehabbing and flipping. In 2001, I deviated a bit from real estate. I built a 150 capacity restaurant from ground up, a staff of about 15 people, which included managers and chefs and servers, and pretty much had an entire team running this restaurant. Did that for a good 8 years and was super happy when I was able to transfer that key over to the new owner. Happy to get out of that business. Very, very hard and just very stressful, and was able to get back into real estate, which has really always been my passion, and have been focused just these last 10, 11 years, really just focused on representing clients in both the residential and commercial real estate end of it. I purchased my first multifamily deal, which was 34 doors in Texas in 2015, which was, an awesome time now that I can look back. Right at that time, I was afraid. I thought I was overpaying for this property, and it ended up being a great investment. I was looking for a way to create cash flow and really looking for generational wealth. I was done with this, flipping. Like just rehabbing and flipping. And so I was looking for a way to just how can we make our money work for us, right? And it was definitely multifamily. So for us, when I reference us as my husband and I, we were looking for cash flow, and just really in a nutshell, just very basic. And cash flow is your rental income minus all of your expenses. That's your cash flow, right? And number two, it was loan pay down. And I thought to myself, well, how cool can this be that your tenants are actually paying down your loan, right? And you don't even feel it. And three, it was appreciation, right? We're buying a property and hope that it's going to appreciate over the long run. And also, not only that, is that we knew we were coming in. It was just a value add opportunity. We were coming in to do some serious work to it to increase the net operating income, which helped increase the value of the property. And then number four were the tax benefits. So tax benefits, someone can mute themselves, please. And the tax benefits were, the depreciation that pretty much it allows you to expense a portion of the physical structure each year, and the 1031 exchange, which allows you to defer the capital gain taxes. And there's no limit to how many times you can do this. It's just going out there and finding something that makes sense for you. So I'm going to give you guys a little example of the property that I bought and pretty much what it was, and that way you guys can learn from this. So it was a value add opportunity, and value add opportunity, I put the definition there for you guys. It's this pretty much is the strategy which involves buying the worst property in the best neighborhood, then increasing its net operating income and the value of the property through renovation. So it's very important that you guys understand that in multifamily, if you have not purchased multifamily, or you're comparing residential real estate to multifamily, very different. Residential, you're going to base the value of your property based on the comparables in the area. The beauty with multifamily is that if you increase its net operating income and you improve the property, then the property value increases. And so just to give you guys an example, when I purchased this property, it was 34 doors that I purchased at $850,000. And at that time, I was able to connect with the agent who happened to be the owner of the property. And I was a buyer who happened to be an agent. And so we put the deal together. I didn't need representation, and he didn't either. So we kind of, we came together and worked it out. And I, at that time, had asked if, he'd be interested in doing a seller carry a note. And he agreed to it. And honestly, this was the route that I wanted to take at that time, because I knew that I could go out and apply for the loan, but this was my first time buying 34 doors. I knew the condition. I knew everything we needed to do. And just to add the stress of applying for a loan, I didn't want to take that extra step. And if he agreed to seller finance for me, it was great. I'm like, let's do it. And it just worked out perfectly. Those 2 years, he gave us a note for 2 years. We were able to remodel and update the units and increase the rent. And by year 2, when we refinanced, the property value it had doubled. We were at $1.6 million. And I was able to refinance. I cashed out pretty much all my initial, like my down payment and just the initial rehab money, and really have zero invested in this property. And today's value is $2.8 million. So this right here is a perfect example of a value add opportunity. So I know I've spoken a lot here, and I kind of want to break for a second and ask any of you if you have any questions, anything about this that I've talked so far. We're all good? Okay. So I'm going to share. Let me ask anyone on this call, other than our guest speaker, own multifamily, 10 plus doors. I mean, if you want to put it in the chat, or 15 any of it or looking to get involved?
Excuse me. I'm looking to maybe 2023 get involved.
Fantastic.
But other than that, no.
Okay, awesome. I see someone is Riley. You currently own 50 doors. Awesome. What's where where at Riley?
They're in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Very nice. Anybody else? All right, so let me just show you guys a picture of the building. It's, as you can see, this building here is 24 units, 1 bedroom, 1 bath. And then it has another building, which is 10 units, 2 bedrooms, 1.5 bath, and they're townhome style. Oops, sorry, let me go back. I'm moving around too many things here, but so let me stop sharing here for a second. All right. So that in a nutshell is what I have done so far with multifamily. And as I grow my interest in multifamily, this weekly call that I do is really to connect. Can you guys make sure you mute yourselves, please? Okay. I don't want to mute people, but if you can just mute yourself, that'd be great. And so part of this weekly call that I do is really to connect. I mean, I've learned just being in multifamily that it is important to connect with people in this space, in this world, if you want to learn more about the business, right? And even opportunities come your way.
This is so fucking confusing.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well,
Sorry, I was just saying it was confusing. I'm sorry. That's all.
what is confusing?
My bad.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. My bad. You can keep talking. Don't worry. My bad.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All righty. I mean, if it's confusing for you,
Chelsea, what's so funny?
More than welcome to just get off the call. No worries.
I'm just curious what Chelsea's laughing at. What is so funny?
I don't think anything's funny.
I think she's laughing at me, and I find that maybe it could be bullying.
Well,
Okay, well,
bullying. I think you're being incredibly rude to the host here who's speaking, and you should potentially show some more respect, and not only to ourselves, but the other people in this group.
I agree. So Derek, I mean, I don't know how to escort you out of the call, but if you'd like to escort yourself out, I appreciate that.
I'll shut up. I'll mute myself. I'll be quiet. Don't worry.
Okay, that was uncalled for, but I apologize to everyone on this call for that.
Yeah, sorry. My bad, everyone. My bad. I feel like a wiener. My bad.
Okay, I don't know. Jess, can you please remove Derek from our call?
What did I do?
Make me co-host, Annabelle.
Okay, hold on a second. How do I do this? Let's see here. Did he leave?
I think he left.
Oh my
He's out now.
Oh my God.
That was a first.
That really was the first. I am so sorry. I've never had.
Okay.
There's
Oh
a
my
group.
goodness.
I'm on Bill's calls,
Uh-huh.
and there's a couple chuckleheads that do that, and they also scream racial stuff. The other thing, the host need to be, they like to log in and then switch names. So like last week, they picked my name on Bill's thing and then just started typing and swearing a bunch of Jewish slurs, which Bill knows me personally, so he knows I wasn't doing it. But yeah, they're just people with too much
real
time.
shit. I just dropped 3.4 pounds taking a shit.
What the
No
heck
lie.
is going on?
I fucking came in the house, was bored, wanted to
we
myself before.
Annabelle, go ahead and make me co-host, and
Wait
I will
myself
remove people who aren't on the registration list.
How am I going to make you? How do I make you co-host here?
Pull up the participants, and then next to my name, there's a little more button, and you should be able to do it that way.
This is incredible. This is the first time this happens.
Never even heard of this.
Oh my gosh. Let me admit him.
Yeah, they're just dumb people.
Yeah, because anybody can sign up for anything like on Eventbrite. So anybody who signs up can get a link and come in and do stuff.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Annabelle. I'll handle it. Let me just mute people and
Wow.
I'll get it handled in about like 30
This
seconds
is-
probably.
This is really ridiculous. Wow.
Who
I am
has
so
time
sorry.
to be doing this?
I mean, obviously.
You guys can go on with your speaking.
Yes, I apologize. So anyway, I as I was saying, my gosh, it's like, let me get back into, let me focus here. So anyway, today I have.
I'm Jack from Titanic. Where's Rose? I'm Jack from Titanic. I came back to life. Sorry. Never mind. I'll shut up. My bad.
Oh my God, that's the same guy. This is ridiculous. Wow. Anyway, let's go on, and I'm going to ignore these people. So we have a guest speaker today. Sorry, Chelsea. This has never, ever happened before. Chelsea Garber is a real estate investor and a syndicator, and she also has extensive knowledge in design, architecture, construction, and project management. In addition, she's founder of ROI ByDesign, which is a value enhancing design and remodeling firm tailored specifically for multifamily investment properties. I know not everyone has then, that knack to pick tile and colors and cabinets. And sometimes it just makes sense to hire someone that knows how to do this, that can make it, have it done like efficiently, right, fast, and I'm sure you'll save a lot of money at the end of the day. So I want to welcome Chelsea to our call today, and I'll let her kind of just explain a little bit more about herself and what she's done. And welcome, Chelsea.
Yeah, thank you so much for the kind introduction. And that was the first time I had really heard your story. So so exciting. And I get being in like the rat race. I didn't do 100 single family house flips, but it is a job. There's nothing passive about it. And, I think we all sort of transition into multifamily from, there's just so many more, benefits, and everybody, whether it be generational wealth or capital preservation or, the scalability is just can't be found anywhere else. So in any event, I actually am fairly new to multifamily investing, about 2.5 years. My professional background is in design and construction. I have owned multiple design firms in New York and Los Angeles, and had once focused on very high-end residential and have worked in the homes of celebrities and those alike, very wealthy individuals, and was really burnt out by the business. And I made the transition into multifamily like most people do. I started flipping single family homes out of state and realized very quickly that it was incredibly stressful, also hard to manage, costs, teams, you name it. And through education and mentorship and, reading and just really lots of educating, I found my way into multifamily. And so not only am I an active owner, my partners and I have in the last year acquired 572 doors between Columbus, Ohio and Oklahoma City. I am also the owner of ROI ByDesign, which, as Annabelle mentioned, is a multifamily design and remodeling firm. And really our focus is to work with, individuals like yourselves, whether you're just getting started or you're a seasoned investor, is how can we improve the return on your investment through cost-effective design solutions? And we work virtually in all 50 states, within all asset classes. But really our main focus, I would say our sweet spot is C, B class, because really that's where the most value can be created. So, Annabelle was a perfect example of taking, one of the worst properties in a decent neighborhood and really being able to turn that around and therefore increase the NOI and the returns. And, that's kind of like the name of the game. So, with that being said, I've been in a lot of your shoes where maybe haven't had, work really hard to get the first deal. And I will say that it is patience and persistence. So although we've accomplished so much in the last year. There was a lot leading up to that, like years of building a foundation of, getting to know our target markets, building relationships with brokers, property managers, other investors. Like, this is not a get rich quick, overnight fix. So I will say that, if you are seriously interested in, or growing your portfolio, if you don't already have one, that it just takes time, and we're in competitive markets. And so with that being said, by coming up with great design solutions, this is an opportunity to kind of set yourself up for success. I have a presentation. I can kind of run through it quickly with some fun visuals of what we're doing, what we're working on, kind of dive a little bit deeper into kind of some of our services. So this, again, is great as you are all here and looking to acquire properties. These are some tips and advice that you can take, before you maybe go under contract, what you should be looking for, what you should be budgeting for, and really just how you can make your project a success, because there's a lot of moving parts in these opportunities. And I think design often gets overlooked. So with that being said, I'm going to share my screen and get this presentation on the board. Okay, let's see. Oops. Slideshow. Where is this? Here we go. Okay, can just like a thumbs up. Can everybody see my screen? Okay, the ROI by design. Okay, cool. All right. Hold on, I need to, 1 second. It's on auto slideshow. Let's see, enter full screen. Okay, here we go. So ROI by design, that stands for return on investment by design. So we are a full service design and remodeling firm that works with multifamily investors. I will say that although we mostly focus on, 20 plus units, we've done house flips, duplexes, we've helped with like furnishing Airbnbs. So our services are quite extent here, which, may or may not apply to more people in this room. But, kind of already gave you a little bit of background about myself, but, we work virtually in all 50 states. I have a handful of designers on my team, and, ROI by Design is the opportunity to partner with a professional in the space at a affordable, cost-effective flat fee. So I know people think interior designer, oh my gosh, like I could never afford one, but that is so not the case. Like, we're here to put together design packages that will be a drop in the bucket compared to what you're going to spend on other CapEx projects. So we just, our overall motto is that aesthetics play such an important part in our tenants' lives. No matter where you live, what asset class, everybody deserves to live in a clean, functional space that is not only functional, but also highly attractable. And in return, you get great tenants, you have great retention, and that trickles down to the returns, which are often higher because you have, a better product on the market. The first and foremost is kind of how it works. We've been in the design world for 15 years. This is actually thanks to COVID, this business came to life where I transitioned from more single family to multifamily design, is because we have now all gone virtual. So rather than being only accessible in New York or LA or my now hometown of Park City, Utah, we're working with owners and operators all over the country. I think we've probably designed in probably about 20 states now in the last year and a half, over 3,000 units. And, traveling is just not required, although it's possible, because we can work through photos, videos, and we're not necessarily a boots on the ground operation. You have a contractor and you have a property manager, you're paying for that. So we kind of consider ourselves more of a consultant and or another tool in your tool belt. But it's very simple. Our 3 steps, first is like a consultation intake. We want to get to know you as an investment group, your plans to own, operate. Have you set a certain amount of money aside for CapEx? Where's that money going to go to? Just get really on the same page about the scope of work and deliverables. Then we jump right into the design phase. We put together, again, turnkey solutions that translate everything from exterior design to interior remodeling to amenity spaces. That could be clubhouses, pool areas, maybe we're adding a dog park or a dining area. So it really is the sky's the limit here as far as how much we can be involved, or it could be a little bit more a la carte. But at the end of the day, we take, those important design decisions off of your plate and put them on ours. And once we've created these, what we consider like a comprehensive design package, we then hand it off to your team. Let's say everything's been finalized with a detailed spreadsheet. So you can literally, like you or your contractor can go through and click on materials and order them, since we do not order construction materials, but we will give you a guide. And we work with all great, Home Depot, Lowe's, Floor and Decor, you name it, all the major retailers. And we'll also partner with, local parties. Let's say you have a flooring company you already love, or a signage company. We don't make any money off of these products. So at the end of the day, we just want it to be really successful. So what you get is renderings. If we're doing exterior rendering of the property, I can't emphasize how great renderings are, because when you're putting together a pitch deck for investors and you want to show, you can talk all about your plans to own and operate and, remodel a property, but without photorealistic renderings, it can be really hard for people to visualize. So we'll put together renderings of proposed, paint finishes or lighting, whatever it may be on the exterior. We don't do them as frequently for interiors, but it's possible. So along with renderings, we put together all of the finishing materials, if there's any floor plans that needed to be done, as well as installation instructions and a full shopping list. Our service or app, as I said before, are entirely catered to your property, your budget, your demographic. We want to know, who are the tenants, what type of people are living in these communities. Are these millennials? Are they people that are retired? Because it is going to, I think, have a different effect on the overall design. So with that being said, we get very specific to make sure that our solutions are really a good fit for, not only your property, but the community. And we just want to make sure you're spending your money wisely and efficiently. We have a pretty broad list of services. Again, this can be more a la carte or packaged together. So everything from space planning, sometimes, not as often does this apply for C or B class, but let's say you're removing walls. We can help with putting together floor plans, along with, obviously all the material selections. We have a laundry list of people that we work with. And at the end of the day, we want to translate luxury design into, affordable solutions. So just because is it maybe a C-class workforce housing, it doesn't mean that, the materials, although they might not be the same price point of a new development project, aesthetically, they can still look really great and highly functioning. People more so than ever, as we all know, are appreciating their homes. They're spending more money on their homes. And this is not just in A and B, this is absolutely in C-class communities as well. The interior remodeling will go, help with, new flooring, painting, plumbing fixtures. Again, it is really dependent on the scope of work. We've already touched on exterior remodeling, but I will just emphasize that it is the first impression is the most important impression. So when it comes to repositioning an asset, we often have to think about really creative branding solutions. What are you renaming the community? Does it have a stigma in the town that might not be so great? So coming up with new names and schemes that these materials translate from the exterior to the interior is just so important to pay attention to these details. Additionally, we do work on new development projects as well. We've got a handful all over the country, and we can be involved with every part of that phase, from calling out all exterior, interior materials, furnishings, sort of, you name it. And lastly, we also do 2D and 3D renderings as per request. Not as prominent in C-class assets, but definitely as you kind of get into the higher end, more competitive markets, these 3D renderings can be really important. One more thing that I will add, although we do not purchase construction materials on your behalf, we will absolutely help you with any furnishings, because we are a full service interior design firm. We get trade discounts that often your contractors or property managers do not receive. So it could be like you have a model unit you want to stage, or a gym, or a clubhouse, or like I mentioned, a pool area. We can not only put together plans and of those furnishings, but also select them and help with the ordering process. And we'll go down to the details of picking out the trays that you see in this picture here are going to go on the ottoman, perhaps in your clubhouse, with accessories. So the devil is really in the detail. And, I can't emphasize enough branding and signage, creating, this is new ownership, a new community, and change is going to happen here. And that starts, with branding and signage. So we have a huge emphasis on that. And it's such an integral part of, multifamily. And it's absolutely something that you need to budget for. Signage and brand signage is not cheap. On even the smallest of communities, you need monument signs, you need wayfinding, you need unit numbers. So, I always say at a minimum, depending on the asset size, put at least $5,000 to $10,000 aside for new signage throughout a property. These things do add up when time goes, and it's time to execute. I'm just going to go through some quick examples here of exterior transformations. This is a property that's in Denver, Colorado. So as you can see on the left, we have a, not so great before. There's some odd details here. And what our team did is we put together 3 different options, proposed finishes. And this ultimately came down to, budgetary, having a wood siding versus a paint color. So we like to give options. So if people have a hard time visualizing, and we continually make changes. Let's say, for example, maybe you didn't love the green door. We could change that to another color very easily, but we try and gather information in the beginning, colors you love, don't love. So we don't spin around like the hamster wheel. This is it's actually another one in Denver. We have quite a few in Denver, but just again, putting your best foot forward, like an attractive exterior sets the message that you care for your property and probably therefore your tenants. So here you can see is a brick transformation that's been painted, and also LED lighting throughout your property. A well-lit property is a safe property. It keeps out, in some of these communities that can often be a little rougher around the edges, it can really keep out some of troublesome tenants, crime, things you don't want around your community. This one's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So we got some before and after, rebranded. Again, being really something like adding a wood accent is not typically something we can do everywhere because it's expensive, but where can we do it in small details, budget pending. This is like, again and again, curb appeal, curb appeal, curb appeal. Just can't stress enough how we're not telling you to necessarily spend any more money on your community, but let us come up with creative solutions to make sure you are spending your money wisely. I can't tell you how many times I've just toured properties out on the market that are just painted all gray. And I think we've all seen one too many of them. And I love gray, don't get me wrong, but there's better ways to do things, and it can be very, market driven. Here's a final install pic on the left here of a project in Provo, Utah. As you can see, the before and after and the rendering, obviously the final is even better than the rendering in my opinion, but painting of the brick, changing here. They had a shingle, sort of like a mansard roof. So they had a nice exterior budget, which was great. And, this is how you can take truly a C-class asset to B-class, which is ultimately what we are aiming to do. Some interior transformations, there's oftentimes, it can be very hit or miss. Some units might be in great conditions, others may not. So it can be on a unit by unit basis, but with the right add-ons and changes, this is a major return on your investment because, as we spend so much time in our homes. And I think, given the state of the world, people want good quality products and are paying much more attention to these details than they ever have before. So, and it's always a fine balance, doing the right amount of updates, but not overdoing it. And, we love to be part of that to make sure you're not overspending as well. We do staged model units or Airbnb, short-term rentals, or they could be more like, sometimes they have like executive stays where they have monthly rentals or 3-month rentals. So we can absolutely help you with the staging of units. Again, this also could be for single family homes if you're in the space, small multifamily, or the larger multifamily. It's quite typical to have at least one staged unit. It really just gives the potential renter what the space could look like, and we found that it absolutely helps sells the property. We do quite a few clubhouse leasing offices. So to give you an idea, how do we start with a blank canvas here on the left and turn it, into this on the right? And that's through creative space planning and coming up with furniture plans. So first we want to get inspired, put together a mood board. This is really just a visual representation of ideas for the project, and it establishes direction as to where we're headed to make sure we're all, on the same page as far as design and aesthetic. Once we've created the mood board, we put together a FF&E spreadsheet. So that would be remodeling components like flooring, painting, lighting. We're definitely focusing on some of these details to ensure that both, the remodeling and the furnishing component are very tight knit. So with that, you get furniture plans, material and finish schedules. And we go as far to put together a very detailed tagged furniture and accessory plan. Because we are not on site to help install, that way your on-site property manager knows exactly where items are going, heights for picture frames, locations of sofas, down to every last detail. And then adding new pieces of furniture, oftentimes, again, you're coming into a property and you've just changed the exterior and the branding, but you might come in and say, they really didn't put much thought into this leasing office. So you just want to be cohesive with what you're doing here. So furnishings are absolutely important, and we have great access to so many vendors with wonderful discounts that we share with you here. And last but not least is the final touches. If in your home, you can feel really bare if there's nothing on the walls. It's like when you move into a new place and you're like, I need furniture, I need stuff on the walls. The same goes for the community spaces and the common areas. So having plants, artwork, accessories, this is what sets your project aside from somebody else, is these small details amongst the others. And as I mentioned too, we do furniture and accessory plans. So you can see how on this, kind of guide here, we've called out, it's a little small, but there's going to be 12 chairs B2. So when the furniture company comes to deliver your chairs, you know exactly where chair B2 goes. And the same goes for accessories. So we don't leave any detail untouched. It takes the guesswork out of install. And really, as an owner, you can see the design come to life, and we coordinate with whomever is on site. Exterior amenities, I think, are becoming extremely more popular than ever. People want to create a sense of community. So we're coming up with these awesome solutions that sometimes, and we can do things really on a budget, right? This might just be creating a green space to have cornhole or bocce ball or dining area, but we'll come up with landscaping and hardscaping solutions, not only put together these 2D floor plans, but also call out all of these materials. So this is a very detailed guide. This project here, actually on this bottom left corner, the existing site, there was a building that had burnt down. So they had a ton of space to then revisit, how can we utilize this? And oftentimes, there's children at these communities. So having playgrounds, having community area with whether it be a fire pit or a lounge area, there's just so much you can do. And even the smallest of spaces. So it's something to really think about too, when you're budgeting for your properties. These spaces are by no means inexpensive, most of them. even to get a playground set and put down mulch, you could spend $20,000 or $30,000. So budgeting ahead of time for these amenities will really go a long way. And here's just some example again of some other materials we would call out with different layouts. You know, we like to be in consideration of making sure there's a lot of the markets that we work in, like Texas or Arizona, that there's proper shade and greenery and kind of a nice balance of, you know, different types of landscaping and finished materials. Pools, always, I can't tell you how many times you show up, or you have probably seen yourselves going to look at a property and the pool is either not working or the pool furniture is an absolute wreck. So getting good quality commercial grade pool furniture is absolutely a necessity. And, you know, these are amenities that your tenants oftentimes are really using. So to having them to be not only, you know, functional, but pretty, people are going to spend time there and they're, you know, going to respect the area. So just a couple more examples. I'll kind of flip through here of different amenity spaces we've mapped out. Asset rebranding, you know, here's really, we oftentimes, I can't tell you how many times you go to these properties and the signs are typically 20, 30 plus years old and incredibly sad looking. So we'll come in and do a complete rebranding. You may have a name in mind. We'll absolutely can help you come up with a name. And we're really thoughtful too. We want to understand, you know, within that market, you know, what are, you know, locations or points of interest or things that we can work off of. So it's not totally random, although sometimes it is. So we will design, our in-house team does all of these designs here as far as like branding and logos and color palettes. And we would prepare these types of signage mock-ups that would then get handed off to the signage company. And, you know, we'll pick an example here as, you know, we're using a lot of Trex wood, you know, vinyl, we'll do all the logos, all of that stuff. So it's definitely a team effort when it comes to working with not only property managers and contractors, but signage is just such a huge, important part of this piece. You know, here's the before and after for Julian Square that we saw earlier. And the Parker. Sometimes we do fun tile or painting. Last but not least, I absolutely love to connect with everybody. You know, I can probably the easiest way is to find me is I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, just Chelsea Garber. We also, please feel free to follow us. We're on, you know, Instagram, Facebook, and also have a business page on LinkedIn as well. And we're continually putting up before and after projects, tips and advice. We offer free 30-minute consultations. So we want to learn again about you, your project, what your strategy is, scope of work, and we can put together, you know, based upon that call, proposals for design packages. I will say that design packages, like the full exterior package, which would be paint schemes, lighting, maybe landscaping, hardscaping suggestions, complete rebranding and signage. That package is $3,600. So, you know, we think that for that price, what you're going to get in return for what you're going to spend is, you know, becomes sort of a no-brainer in most of these projects. And then as we move on to interiors, you know, interior spec for one unit, once you've designed one unit, you've designed all 20 or 200. So typically that's around $1,600. And then each add-on, whether it be a clubhouse or amenity space, is really just dependent on, you know, the size of the space and the community. So that's something we would dig into further on a, you know, an initial call. But I know people always want to know, like, so what does this cost? So I would say, you know, packages start at $3,600. Again, we can also do stuff more a la carte. Let's say you're like, hey, Chelsea, we just need help with signage at our community and lighting. Oftentimes people want to do more of the full exterior or interior, or a lot of times too, we have people that just come say, hey, we just brought a community. It's great. It's A-class, but the clubhouse is really lacking. Like, we need new furnishings and accessories. So we can just come in and do that. So in any event, we're absolutely here to help. Our mission is to help as many investors just increase the return on their investment and really just, make the world a better place through, one community at a time. So being an owner and operator, I understand what goes into going into these properties, and they're not easy. It's a lot of work to not only get them to the closing table, but, then you go into ownership and you have a whole new set of problems. So having to focus on the design on top of that can be a bit overwhelming. And, these are expensive decisions you're making when you're painting properties. For example, you might be spending $50, $100, $150,000 alone on painting, and you don't want to stay up at night wondering if you've painted your property the wrong color. So, stuff like that, we really think we can, be of service and value to you. And yeah, with that being said, if anybody has any questions, I'm absolutely, happy to take them at this time, or we can, connect offline as well.
Awesome. Awesome information. And I can share, I mean, Chelsea, where were you 5 years ago? I needed you. I needed someone like you, because I made a mistake, and I went out and I remember buying paint for one of our entire buildings. And as they painted like half of the front of the front of the building, I was like, stop, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And we, there's all this paint and all this money that kind of went down the drain. We didn't use. I had to go and change the color. And I think what you are offering just takes a huge load off of you as I'm an owner operator, right? And I don't have to think about that. I just have someone that knows how to do this, put it together, and then I just go and order it and buy it and get it done. It is huge, and I think it's efficient, very efficient.
Yeah, and I would say too, with having the 3D renderings and a visual, we always say we will, renderings are one thing, but what your property is and different lighting and climate can be different. So whether you're working with us or picking a color on your own, like absolutely put up samples of paints before you paint. Annabelle, that was like the perfect example when you're like, I just spent $20,000 on paint and now I don't want to use it.
Yes. it wasn't that much, but it was a lot of money. And, it was just, I didn't know, I wasn't sure, right? I wasn't sure. And I just said, hey, let's go with this color. And when it went up there, it was like, no, and I think the same thing happened with the doors. We changed the colors, and then we didn't like it, and then we changed the colors.
Trial and error sometimes.
So trial and error. You lose some money there, but I think that what you're offering is nothing. It is just, it will take a huge load off of you as an owner operator, and it'll just, you can go do what you need to get done. Right.
Focus on the things that you like to do.
Exactly.
And that will be money-making activities.
Exactly. And let someone else do the other money-making activities. That's right. That's right. All right. Any other questions? Anyone? This is a good opportunity. Chelsea's also a multifamily investor herself. So
yeah, totally. If you have anything about breaking into multifamily, how to find deals, broker relations, I can speak on any of those topics and answer questions. More open book, the good and the bad.
I have a question Chelsea can maybe answer. I have a 4-unit building, and 2 of the units I'm currently remodeling with the idea of doing traveling professional rentals. So not long-term rental, not vacation rental, but doing more like 2 to 3 to 4 to 6, whatever month rentals to people. So I had the units I'm remodeling started off as 1 bedrooms, but I'm working with an architect and contractor to add a bathroom. So they'll both be 2 bedroom, 1 bath. But now after doing the actual physical remodel, it's going to be about, the furnishings and the outdoor space, painting the outside of the building and so forth. So I'm at the planning stage now with the architects, we getting the permits and all that. So I guess the question I have is, in order to maximize the opportunity, or maybe you have had some experience working with for yourself or with other investors who are trying to be in this space with the travel professionals. I don't know if you have much to say about how to make your property appeal, for the maximum kind of, return on what you're spending.
Yeah, no, good question. I think, like any project, whether it's a long-term or short-term, starting with the exterior is, if you've budgeted for it and you're planning to work on the exterior, you want to, of course, make it as attractive as possible, right? And then kind of, I think more importantly, as far as how do you furnish a space that's going to work well for somebody who wants to really feel like they're at home, but only knowing they're going to be there for 2 or 3 months, which really is not a very long time, is I think first, quality of materials like furnishings, right? You don't want to put in stuff, that might easily stain, or you're going to be replacing rugs every time they leave. So it might be a mix of, I don't like to say sometimes the word commercial, because commercial sounds like sterile, but sometimes more contract grade materials that are going to hold up to better wear and tear, indoor, outdoor rugs that are going to take dirt. Oftentimes people do not care for these places like it's their own, whether they're renting or, versus owning. So being really conscious about what type of furnishings you're putting in the space, I think is super important, just to ensure that you're not refurnishing a unit every time somebody's coming and going. The other construction materials, right? Like LVP flooring, porcelain tile, that's going to stand the test of time. So yeah, I would say that is, making sure you have your head wrapped around, how these spaces are going to get used.
Right. Got it. So yeah, you want things that are good quality, as opposed to things that when people move out, and you have to replace even chairs or tables or things of that nature, go with the higher, not necessarily the higher end in terms of cost, but in terms of quality and
Quality. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a difference. Like these are not like custom furnishings, but it's materials that you're using that are going to stand up more wear and tear than potentially if it was your own home. And that might be, again, contract grade finishes on the sofas, or if you're going to do, a bed and you might not want to do fabric, you might want to do wood stuff, just being really thoughtful of, what could potentially get damaged by people. They're going to probably be more careless because they're not committed to a long-term stay or ownership, for that matter. So
Thank you.
Needless to say, if you ever, I'd be happy to talk offline about, how we could potentially help you furnish those spaces where we do Airbnbs, single family duplexes, and it's a great business model, though, especially I think that like for traveling nurses and, people in corporate world, it's hard to find those types of stays.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Where
Thank
is
you. Yeah, I'll
the
definitely
property,
connect.
Nick?
There's one that is like just north of Inglewood. So it's kind of in that area where there's a lot of, development and a lot of, interest right now. So it's kind of a transitioning area. It hasn't transitioned, but it's not, so I recognize that it's probably going to be, it's not going to be like your downtown professional who's, some lawyer or whatever. It's going to be someone who's working in a more service or a more like traveling nurse or whatever. But the kind of the idea behind it is that I know I can maximize the revenue by renting by the room, so to speak, as opposed to doing long-term rentals, which is what I've always done. And so I really want, and then I'm adding an ADU in the back as well. So I'm wrapping my head around the importance of the exterior features we're giving mention of, like how to make the outside kind of also appealing, but not do so much that it's going to, it's going to be either a burden from upkeep standpoint or, be just money wasted, because the outside is important, but the inside is critical.
Yeah, it's a fine balance there. And in this case, if it's mostly rentals, then the interiors are going to probably far exceed the, what's on the exterior of the property, although important. We're doing a house flip in Hawthorne and, you know, kind of in an up and coming neighborhood. And it's like, how do you transition? Like, you always have to keep in mind, you can't take an old product and just make it new. Like it's not possible sometimes. So
Yeah.
keeping with the structure of the bones, but updating the interiors. And, you know, at the end of the day, you want not only functionality is first and foremost, and followed by attractability.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, it might be good for you guys to connect.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely have her info now, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll put my,
It's on
all
the
my
chat.
info in the chat here.
Perfect. Wonderful. All right. Well, any other questions? We're all good. Fantastic. Well, Chelsea, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Great information, really, really great information. And I think that anyone that's really looking to do any kind of a remodel, or even if you're renting anything, Chelsea's probably a good connection here to have and to connect with for you know, this really nice design and not cost you a whole lot of money, right? Trial and error. So anyway, I want to thank you so much, and I welcome you back anytime that you want to come back. I do this call every Wednesday. It's at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it's pretty much, my title is How to Get Your First Investment Multifamily Deal. And every week it's different, right? So there are some weeks that I'll talk about certain things like how do you get a loan, right? How do you get approval, or how do you find properties? And then I just bring guest speakers in because I think we need to break it up and hear what's going on out there in the real world as well. So it's, you know what, please, if you join me again, participate, ask questions. I do live stream this on YouTube, and pretty much you guys all know I'm Annabelle Pacheco. I am with eXp Realty and trying to make things happen for myself and for everyone here on this call. I'll see you guys next week. Take care. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. And sorry for today's craziness.
Good.